Hey, okay. So, hi guys. My name is Julian Hemmings. We're here with the team. We're called ICARUS. We're real estate developers in Michigan, and we are very, very, very excited to talk to you guys about what we're doing, how we're growing. And if you guys know anyone that's interested in real estate development, who wants to see if they can build some more land in Michigan and Puerto Rico, let us know. So, I want to introduce Valencia. Valencia, introduce yourself real quick. Valencia.
I'm sorry. Hi, my name is Valencia Smith. I have real estate experience in terms of real estate investing. I also have, the pleasure of learning about fix and flips, um, buy and holds, different things like that. Just real estate development, as well as tied to investing into like real estate as well. I'm also a therapist, so that's I just have a little bit of background in terms of negotiating and talking and actually forming a relationship with people to figure out what it is their problem is and what they need fixed, so that's me.
Thank you. Toya, you mind introducing yourself real quick too?
Hi, my name is Toye. I'm a student at Eastern studying cybersecurity. I don't really have too much experience with real estate, so I'm appreciative for Julian for giving me, taking me under his wing and getting me started in the process and how we can build up a real estate organization for Michigan and cross world.
Yeah, my name is Julian Hemmings. I'm a law student at the University of Michigan. I'm also the founder and CEO of ICARUS. And what we're doing basically is that we have noticed that the Michigan economy, which is not hard to notice, is beginning to rise back up. And there needs to be people who are a part of that community that are involved in this particular venture of getting jobs, getting major companies. And so what our the focus around is Valencia and Toye's experience today in getting involved in a seven-figure deal. And I kind of want to interview you guys and ask you about your experience, your thoughts, without too much details to like the entities, but talking to you guys about like, what are you seeing the possibility of the deal being? What are some lessons that you've taken from it? And, of course, what are the skills that you think you can gain through this process? So my first question will probably go to Toye. What was something that you noticed in dealing with, since you're really new to this, how is this different than something that you've done probably in your past, right? In any other job that you've worked at or any other career path that you've gone through?
So the difference I've experienced is that when you're dealing with multiple people, when you're dealing with with a deal like this type of aspect, you really, of course, you really have to explore all your options. It's not like you can. People say they can I wouldn't say that people say, but like people believe they have other options, but of course, not every option when you're making a deal like this is going to be your best guarantee option. So they really like to, you really have a full conversation, right? You're not trying to skip on everything. You're trying to make sure you get everything figured out because you are dealing with a heavy check and a lot of work and responsibilities with a lot of people coming into it. And another thing I experienced with this that's very, very interesting is that you are able to negotiate. No price is literally fixed. So, and both you guys want the best for yourselves. Of course, you're going to try to make that opportunity happen, but you're going to really need to figure out what you want, make sure they know what you want. Because if you just leave if you just leave them guessing and no unintention, that's when they're really going to just leave alone. Let them know what you want. Let them know what they want. And you might even have to adapt to yourself as well. But typically you want to, of course, get the best option for both of you guys. But if you can squeeze out something, of course, ask. You have to. You're gonna have to always ask.
Yeah, I love that, Toye. I think that what makes this different than a lot of career paths, especially like if you're in law or if you're doing like what you're doing with technology. I think that when we're on the sales side, we're on the deal making side, It's looking at the elasticity of the deal. And I think that's what you're pointing at. It's that notion that there is nothing that is fixed. It's only a conversation surrounding interest. And how do we navigate interest? How do we understand and protect our own interests, but not screwing the client, and make sure that we're helping them to come to what we can define as like a really win-win situation, while noticing that we may not get everything we want. I think that's a really powerful point. To Valencia, you've done deals similar to this, but how is doing like a large commercial deal different than doing a residential deal?
Well, number one is the numbers. That's the first thing that I noticed, that when I was like even talking about, like, say if I wanted to do like a wholesale deal with someone, it was only on a smaller scale. It was 10 to 20,000, at the most 30,000. We also didn't really need to talk to a broker because we were just the middleman. We didn't need to get anything under contract because, again, we were the middleman. So it's more amenities being added to actual like real estate development is first and foremost what you're showing me. That we're going to have to do a little bit more dirty work, in terms of just talking to people. And it's not about like dominating people, but persuading people. No one wants to be dominated. And building a building, whether it's a hotel, a structure, or just purchasing a home, no one wants to be told like you need to sell, you need to buy. It's a persuasion. What's making you want to buy, or what's making you want to sell? And how in order to be in this business, I do think that you kind of got to have those two skills: the skin to take risk in terms of how you talk to people and connect with people, and how you present yourself, but also how able are you to like solve their problem or their interest. So one of the things that we talked about with the contract deal, you're like trying to let them know that not only do we want you to come out on top of the deal, but we want to come out with the best interest as well. So I like how you put that, like, in terms of I'm not trying to harm you in terms of where you're going to lose money, but at the same time, it has to make sense for us too. So I like that. That was persuasive to me, to where it wasn't offensive, and I think that in this business, you have to have a mouthpiece. So I don't know. I think that's what I'm like, the first thing that I'm taking away for bigger deals.
I love that. I love that. I think that's why I brought you and Toye on, because again, like I met you guys while you guys were kind of just doing sales. And I thought you guys had wonderful personalities I think people could root for, personalities I think could be at the deal table, personalities I think could handle negotiating a 7, 8, or 9 figure budget. I just thought you guys have that innately. And I think what's bigger than that is that you guys have hometown roots in Michigan, and you want to see this place grow. And I think being in Ann Arbor, what was really exhausting for me to find was that there wasn't a lot of African Americans that were involved in these spaces. And growing up, being a New Yorker, you always kind of heard about, Detroit, the history of Detroit, the beauty of Detroit, the greatness of Detroit, the wealth of Detroit. And for me, I wanted to come out here because I wanted to help Detroit get back to that place. I want to ask you guys, man, like, where do you guys think, if we're able to succeed here, and I'm going to direct this to Valencia and then I'm going to go to Toye, where do you think, if we're able to succeed here, how far can Michigan go? How far can Detroit go? Can Detroit come back if we're able to bring these developments? What are some things that you think we can do to do that? What are some of your ideas?
I'm just kind of like glad that you asked that question, because I've always been a futuristic like visionary. I can remember when Detroit was first getting gentrified downtown, where like the poor people were being moved out off the streets. and they were building bigger buildings. You know, the LCA came along, and you know, the Q line came along, and these are the things that like funded the city and brought the
I'm
wealth
sorry, what is
of
an
downtown Detroit.
LCA and what is the Q line? If you can define those, because I don't even know. Yeah.
I'm
Please.
sorry, the Little Caesars Arena where the Pistons play, or you know, just where basketball players come and meet, or you know, people do concerts like artists. And then the Q line is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Quicken Loans, but the Q line was made for people that work in that area downtown, for them to quickly get on the train and, you know, take it to Midtown or back downtown, or you know, grab a bite to eat or something like that. So that's what the Q line is. That wasn't always there. Me growing up and being a city girl my whole life. And I remember being in a digital media arts school, like, you know, I want to capture this. I was ahead. Like no one really knew. No one really knew that it was gonna happen, like that they were gonna move the people out and move richer people in, right? So it can like fund the, and I wanted to like tell that story before it actually happened. But no one really wanted to get on. So moving forward now, where do I see this? I don't know if you know this, Julian, and we talked about this when we were in the car together, when we connected. But downtown, they're building an all glass unit, like a residential unit, for I want to say about 426 people that can move into those units. I started to think about, wow, it might need like solar, you know, solar power on top of it because it's glass and it's going to be right off the water. I don't know if they thought about that, but I saw it in my head without even, you know, being involved in the construction of the building. So where do I think that this company could go? I really honestly think that it can take Detroit to the next level. And even if it's not, we may not even build a glass building. It can be fiberglass. It can even be like titanium, you know, where we start building buildings with titanium and different things like that. But or even if we're not building buildings, but if we're just like letting people know we'll take over your project and we'll elevate that, I can even see it going you know, there. So I don't know, I want to be involved. I want to be a catalyst for, you know, for the city, like you said. I don't need to obviously be the face of it, but I just want to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, you are the face, right? I mean, I brought you guys in because you guys have that personality that I think people will rally behind, and it's not like solely you're the face, but you're the face behind a community, right? A lot of the time when it comes to development, it's always in conjunction to gentrification. Now, what does development look like without it entailing destruction of communities? You know, what does development look like if we're putting people who are from this community in that space to help develop it with love and care, to not look at the community and bulldoze it, but look at it like a garden to plant seeds and to plant new roots as with the old roots already put in place. Toye, similar question, man. Where do you see this going? If and what are some strategies that you think we could implement to succeed here?
I see Detroit being like, nah, Detroit's like literally it's gonna be the future. You know, Detroit's already a great place. Everybody already loves Detroit. You know, everyone from Detroit don't want to leave Detroit. Even we were speaking on that. I was like, yeah, I was planning on like, I was like, you know, when I graduate, planning on leaving, but I don't want to. But for a job, you might have to. Detroit, there's if you've been downtown Detroit, there's a lot of places that are, you know, building structures worked down that haven't been fully manufactured, no, that haven't been moving, destroyed, all that. So there's so much land that this company can thrive off of and build not only better buildings, homes, um, essentially literally make Detroit the number one future spot to be at. Because Detroit's already a great place. You know, you got everything you want here, everything you need. You know, you gotta love the culture. We just don't have enough building, not enough spots. And what Valencia was talking about is they're moving a lot of rich people. You know, a lot of rich people are moving out, a lot of people from Detroit. to, you know, have their own, basically own private section. And I believe Detroit could do something like that. But instead of bringing a lot of rich people, bring a lot of people in, just in general, because there is enough homes for us. There is enough land for us to build. So we can build the company can build a, like she said, with a titanium structure. That's a really good idea. Maybe something more of like a, you don't really see too many, like besides like apartments, you don't see too many connected homes. Maybe do something like that. Honestly, the limit, there's really no limit on how we could structure it. It really just depends on how we want to go through it and what's gonna be the best option for us. But I can see Detroit being the future, because Detroit's a great place. Nobody wants to leave. You know what I'm saying? But there's not a lot of opportunities. But there's not a lot of opportunities for people, but for us, there is, to make those opportunities.
I love that. I love that. And the thing is, right? We were doing a deal to develop a prefabricated structure. So for those that don't know what a prefab structure is, it's basically one of the easiest ways to develop massive buildings. So we can get basically a steel building built within about 30 days. I think that's how a lot of people are building up tiny homes and all that. So issues surrounding housing, issues surrounding building space, they will become less and less valuable as being issues, because we will be able to create new ways to develop, to construct new buildings so that we can meet the needs that people have. So hopefully, to what Lynn's saying, we can help to build those big projects. We can help to create space for people who are housing insecure, people who want to shop the big city of Detroit. So guys, just want to say next week, please check out our YouTube video, because we will be talking about eco innovation. We will be talking about a meeting that we're having, that we're talking about tire recycling in Puerto Rico. These guys will be on the project as well. And hopefully when this is all closed, we'll all be really, really happy.